Welcome back,
Nerdrotic.com.
everyone, to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in San Francisco, California. And I just finished watching the British airing of Doctor Who Spyfall Part 2. And we're going to start out by saying there will be spoilers. I spoil everything in all of my reviews, but I will give you fair warning. I will keep it vague in the very beginning of this live stream. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, friends. Welcome, frenemies. We can start out by saying, first, if you like what I do and you like independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos, because that is the only way independent content creators like yours truly can stay competitive against the giant corporations like the BBC, Disney, and CBS that YouTube has decided to prioritize on this platform. I'm getting pretty good with that spiel, aren't I? Done it right out of memory. Wrote that myself. This was the best episode of Jodie Whittaker, Chibnall era Doctor Who by far. Was it good? No, but I'll tell you why. It almost was. It had moments of good. We had some of the best moments between the companions we've ever had. Graham was on point this entire show. That was great. Ryan was better. Yaz actually felt like a character, although she's Martha Jones. The biggest problem is this episode was an entire rip-off, callback, homage, again, to the David Tennant era. There was no original ideas in this whatsoever. Sound of drums, Doomsday, I mean, all of it. I didn't even catch all of it. They did some classic era Doctor Who stuff, which we'll get into. City of Death, I mean, like, everything was brought back. Some of the tastelessness of last season was brought back as well. Not as bad as it was in Rosa, but close. And we'll talk about that. Jodie's performance continues to be the one thing that just stops this show from moving forward for me. I just don't buy her as the Doctor. This probably was the best written episode of the Chibnall Jodie era, but it also exposes a lot of the flaws of what we're going to have moving forward. I would rank this probably around one of the mediocre episodes of the later Moffat era with Capaldi. And what made the later Moffat era with Capaldi watchable, because the writing was horrific, was Peter Capaldi. The greatness of Peter Capaldi. Unfortunately, neither Capaldi or Jodie is going to be something that's going to capture the hearts and minds of those of us here in the States. That is my perspective. And we like to talk about perspectives on this show. Well, that's my perspective. As a Whovian. Yes, one of my all-time favorite shows. If not, it's probably my all-time favorite show. I'll say that. It's probably my all-time favorite show. I have a lot of favorites, a lot of favorite things. I don't like to put all my eggs in one nerd basket. I like to get around because there's a lot of stuff to enjoy. But love Lord of the Rings. Love Doctor Who, love Star Trek, used to love Star Wars, and Marvel Comics, of course. Did you hear I used to own a comic shop? It's a rumor going around. I used to own a comic shop, 10 years in San Francisco. So this was a much better episode than the premiere. It flowed better. Now I'll get my notes. The alien ended up being nothing for now. It really, what that alien was, and they were called the Kasarvan, I think was more foreshadowing for what's to come. I don't know about all of you, but I was just thinking Cybermen the whole time. They even mentioned a Mondasian rifle. The Master mentions firing a Mondasian rifle. And Sacha Dhawan was better in this episode. He dialed back his Master quite a bit, and he was better. I can completely buy him as the Master now. I can. But the problem is going to remain the same from here on out. And this is a problem that's not going to change. And this is a problem I'm not going to be able to get past. The BBC's Diversity Inclusion Initiative, which I have no problem with diversity and inclusivity whatsoever, But part of that is men bad. Men bad. And we can't, and at least we got, they have moved forward. We have moved past white men being bad, which I predicted last year, and we're just going to have men being bad this season. So that's going to be the big change. The villains will still be men, and the patriarchy, which we're going to get into, because the ultimate symbol of that patriarchy was a big part of this episode. And I'm not going to bury the lead on this one. The rumor that I reported, which the only reason I reported on a rumor that I cannot verify in any way, shape, or form, and it came from a friend of mine for years who does not work inside the BBC and was not inside the production or anything. They are on the peripheral. So take it with a grain of salt, that's fine. But this spirit of that rumor looks like it looks like they're going to go there. It certainly looks like they're going to go there, and we will discuss that in the spoiler section. And I hope it's not true. I've always felt that I don't like Jodie. But this era will end, and we can move on. And she's part of Doctor Who's history, and I mean, I could move on from that. I can get over it if they somehow turn this show back into the direction of being fun, thrilling adventures. While this looks like they are trying to do that with Jodie, it's just not going to work. She's too much of a cutesy pixie for me to take her as seriously as somebody who can be intimidating. She doesn't have that quality of I'm a god. There are women who do. Many. Just not Jodie. Not Jodie. And unfortunately, that's where things fall flat for me. So I'm not going to go over the entire episode this time. I'm just going to tell you what I think. We're going to discuss some spoilers. I may or may not do a breakdown video, because the other big news of the week was the 57% drop in ratings from the first episode of Series 11 to the first episode of Series 12. That is significant. Yes, it's overnight ratings. Yes, more people stream. Yes, they're going to make up some more numbers that are, we don't know if these are true or not. We just flat out don't know. But the overnight numbers, Nielsen, they've been around a long time. They don't lie here in the States. That was a 57.78% drop from Series 11's first episode to Series 12. That's significant. That's something they have to pay attention to. Very rarely does a show move up from that. So we are possibly looking at getting below Capaldi numbers now by late January, early Feb, when this series is about to end. Thankfully, we're 2 episodes in, so we only have 8 episodes left, and they're going to be one-offs. They called back to the Timeless Child, and that's what my rumor was about. If you guys watch that video, it's available on my channel. So we find out that the villains are, of course, spies. They're called the Kasarvins. They are not stable in this reality. They are from another universe, and I'm sure they're going to play... For one, they're portals. They're portal beings. I believe that they are going to play a part in this series later, letting something else in. Who knows? But again, there was major callbacks in this episode to better eras of Doctor Who, which is pretty much everything at this point. And that was done on purpose. They basically took the Force Awakens philosophy, and instead of, I guess you can admire Chibnall for wanting to do his own thing for a year. It failed miserably. So now they're just going to do member berries and try to win back what they can of the fandom. A large portion of the fandom is gone forever. They're not coming back. And the biggest problem with this is it's not even the Doctor Who fans. It's the normies. The normies are gone. The normies who might have been attracted to the shiny light of the big news of changing the Doctor from a male to a female, they've gotten bored of this. Because they're not really into this stuff. You have to actually keep the normies around with a semi-decent story. It doesn't take much with them, trust me. But they're not coming back. They're not going to come back to this. I can tell you, I've heard over and over again that I stopped watching Doctor Who. Some people in the Capaldi era, a lot of Americans stopped watching in the Capaldi era. So you can't even blame Jodie for that one. You can blame Moffat. By the way, I did watch the two episodes of Dracula. I'll probably review that on Nerdrotic Live with Mrs. Nerdrotic. Oh, that was something else. It was shot really well though. The camera, some of the camera work on that one is amazing. It really is. It's so crisp and clear in the 4K. Back to Doctor Who. So Ryan and Graham and Yaz are saved by the first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, by ripping off some blink. So we start out the episode by ripping off some blink. There's a video in the plane from the past that Graham can't communicate with. Yeah. So some timey-wimey stuff happens, and they're able to fly the plane with an app, because you don't need the cockpit. The computers are below the deck conveniently. So they fly the plane and land it safely. The first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, is in a realm where she meets a brilliant woman. Ada Lovelace. Ada Lovelace just happens to be there. And that's not the first brilliant woman we meet, because women are brilliant and men start wars and destroy things. And that's the theme of this episode, by the way. At first, I thought there might have been two masters. I thought Barton might have been the other master, because there's two masters. That might come into play, that might not, but there's two masters out there, so we don't know if we have the John Sim one or the Michelle Gomez one. Both whom I liked quite a bit. By the way, that upgrade line, thank you to Starry Eye Girl, who will be joining me in future episodes, for pointing out that Missy, reminding me that Missy's uttered that same line. So they're not doing anything original, even when they're being insulting. This is all done before. So the brilliant woman who is in the realm, who's the only one who figures out that she is brilliant and understands what the Kasarvans are doing. She thinks she's in a dream state or something. She tells the doctor to take her hand, and they portal through to 1834, where they're at some sort of science fair. And they run into the master. Excuse me. And the master shrinks a couple of people, and the master can track the doctor at this point. And we get a little exposition, and we find out that something has happened back home with Gallifrey. And that's what was planted throughout this entire episode, is there's something wrong back home at Gallifrey. And this whole thing is a master concoction to get the doctor's attention. So the doctor and the amazing Ada escape the master, and then they go to 1943 Paris, where we meet, and this, I did a video on this, Noor Inayat, I'm going to mess up her name, and I'm sorry, Noor Inayat Khan, who was a real British spy. I don't know, I can't remember if she was forgive me if I do not remember if she was Pakistani or Indian. I think she might have been Indian. And she was a spy, and she went undercover. And this is where, I mean, if you want to use historical characters once in a while, fine. But you have to ask the question, the doctor saved a lot of people. We'll just say Miss Khan's fate is not a good fate in real life. It's pretty horrific if you think about it. But this isn't, at least, our concerns were that they would go visit those bad German places where people didn't come home from, and they didn't yet, thankfully. But we kind of half joked after they did the Rosa episode, well, are they going to go to those places? And I'm glad they didn't. So they meet up with her, and then the master chases her. We find out that the women are brilliant, and while the women are being brilliant, men are, the fascists are there, because we had to bring in Nazis and fascists, because, it's that time, fascist Nazis, you know what I'm saying? So they go to this era, and the master is using a little perception field, so he's all dressed up as a Nazi, and he tracks the doctor, can't find her, but then they meet up at the Eiffel Tower. And we get some exposition, the master monologues. He tells his whole plan. In the meantime, the fam are on their own without the doctor, but Graham and Ryan have stolen a couple of the spy gadgets, and they are And this is where we get our callback to the sound of drums. Daniel Barton informs them that they are they're fugitives. Everybody knows about it. Every social media site has been hit with their faces. They need to go off the grid. Sound familiar? So they go off the grid. Yaz plays Martha Jones, calls her family. They take off, and they have a little conversation. And this is probably the best companion moment I've seen in this series. They start talking about the doctor and how much how little they know about the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. And that plays into something later. So they're able to be really clever with their gadgets, and they get away. In the meantime, we see Daniel Barton has kidnapped his own mother, and he wanted to show because his mother never gave him approval. And that's what's behind this. His mom never gave him approval, so it's just another weak man, even though he's created this giant company. Oh, and this is a giant shot at Google and YouTube and everything. This whole episode was. And you know what? There's some arguments I could agree with that, to be honest with you, about privacy and stuff. It certainly doesn't. You know what? That's a bigger issue than some of the other issues other shows bring up, like Watchmen. I would say the privacy issue is a much bigger issue that we should talk about. I agree with that. But he ends up killing his mom to prove a point. And what they're going to do is the Kasarvan are spies from this other dimension. We don't know what they are. The Master has struck a deal with them. And they're going to destroy the human race. They're not going to destroy them. They're going to use them as hard drives. So this is where I'm thinking this has got to be Cybermen somehow. But maybe not. So they're just going to use them as hard drives and kill everybody. A few are going to stay alive, and it's going to be a server farm. So Earth is going to be a giant server farm. You get what I'm saying? You know, tech companies taking over, everything really subtle. In the meantime, I just want to get, because the plot's not, the Spyfall stuff, like, falls apart in this, and it's just the doctor meeting these two brilliant women, and then they're all brilliant together because the Bechdel test and stuff like that. We had to show that. But the most interesting part was the Gallifrey stuff part, which I thought, and that's what I want to get to. There's the Silver Lady sculpture. Again, this makes me think of this Silver Lady, but I'm sorry, that was too fast. That Silver Lady. Again, maybe it's just callbacks, maybe it's foreshadowing, maybe it's nothing, maybe it's a red herring. Maybe Chris Chibnall went to the school of the Stephen Moffat red herring, and that's what we have, because Stephen Moffat is the British J.J. Abrams, for sure. So Barton kills his mom. Everybody's going dark. The Silver Lady is the portal for the Kasarvans, and they're gonna turn all the humans into hard drives. When the doctor runs through one of these portals, she says, "Deep breath." Little callback to Capaldi's first episode. And I just call her the Amazing Ada, and Noor. We'll just say Noor. They go with the doctor. Again, there's a good moment with the companions. Again, the Master is monologuing on the Eiffel Tower, and he says he just concocted this plan basically to get the doctor's attention. But it's a win for him because he gets to kill humanity for his precious Earth. But he tells the doctor that Gallifrey is burnt. So it's still in the bubble universe. So we actually have continuing continuity from the RTD and Moffat era. And this is, like, I believe, one of the first times they've talked about it. So, as you know, at the end of the 50th anniversary, which was honestly peak Doctor Who, they saved all the male doctors saved Gallifrey from the Time War. Now, I was never a big fan of taking away the Time War. Just saying. But after the 50th anniversary, when they saved Gallifrey, and then the doctor said he didn't even know where it is, I thought they were going to go on, Matt Smith's doctor and Peter Capaldi were going to embark on this big search for Gallifrey and go for their adventures and stuff, and that never happened because King of the Red Herring. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. And now it's completely undone. Completely undone. So the Master informs the doctor that Gallifrey is burnt. It's toast. It's gone. So now they are the last two again. And I will preface this by saying if they don't meddle in the Time Lord's past, and if they don't do what I'm about to discuss, and this is just an adventure, I'm okay with it. I really liked the Doctor being the last of his species, but I like the Time War aspect of it, and it feels like, actually, I'm not okay with it now that I work it out, because it feels like this is a very cheap way of bringing back the Time War. So no, I take that back. It's bullshit. But Sasha Dewan's master was better in this episode. But any hope I have is going to be gone once we discuss what they're going to do. So the Doctor fools the master, and because she did some timey-wimey stuff, the Nazis are coming. She sends a coded message from the master's character, who has a perception filter, so the Nazis think he's white. She sent a fake message to the Brits that he's a spy. She uses her very phallic sonic screwdriver, her magic wand, and there's still a lot of magic mystery box going on here, to break the perception filter so the Nazis capture the master. And she gets away with amazing Ada. Oh, by the way, she contacts the master in 1943 by using the sound of drums. The heartbeats of a Time Lord. Another callback to the sound of drums and many other things. And then they do contact, which, it's been a while. So she fools the master. Oh, and this is where the master says he killed the Stephen Fry's character C with a Mondasian rifle. And he compares the Kasarvans to the Russians. So more points for the diversity and inclusivity narrative that they like, initiative, because the Russians are bad now. So we introduced the fascists, and there's a line from Noor: "Do the fascists win?" Not the Nazis, the fascists. If they were in Italy, maybe. And the Doctor says the fascists never win. The times might feel dark now, but they never stay dark. That is a message to all Doctor Who fans. It's just not the one I don't think she was intending. But they might stay dark if it stays at the BBC. Okay, so all the male doctors have failed. She foils the plan. And the master, who waited 77 years to see the fruition of this plan, gets basically fooled by timey-wimey. She used the master's TARDIS to go back in time and to deactivate the Silver Lady. So the Kasarvans, or whatever their name is, they end up going back home, and none of this crap is important. And she meets up with the fam, and they say, you have a lot of explaining to do. But the Doctor puts Ada back and Noor back, and she erases their memories. So, of course, Miss Khan goes to meet her death in that one of those German places where you don't come back from in real life. That's what she did. And that's the danger of bringing back historical characters like this. It could look a bit exploitive, a little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Make a documentary about this woman was obviously heroic, but when you do stuff like this, you tend to make it cartoonish, and you just need to be careful. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be careful. So, as you know, the Time Lords are lords, and they represent the patriarchy. So we're going to get to that. Ada, Noor, go back. The fascists don't win. And it turns out, so the Doctor, before she goes back to the fam, she decides to go visit Gallifrey, and it is indeed blowed up. And a message activates, and it's the Master saying, well, if this message is activated, you have obviously been to Gallifrey, and you see it is true. It has been destroyed by me. So the Master went back and destroyed the founding fathers of Gallifrey because they lied to them. The timeless child. And he said they lied to both of us. Now, he doesn't want to give her the whole answer right now because it was hard for him. So it should be hard for her and hard for the audience. And it's going to be hard for the audience. And we get a quick flash. Now, I've only seen this episode once. I need to go back. We get a quick flash of what looked like a little girl, maybe, I don't know, maybe. The timeless child. The timeless child. So I don't know what hit your mind first, but the first thing that goes through my mind is, oh, they're going to say that the Time Lords appropriated the so Rassilon and Omega are not going to be the inventors of the Time Lords. Basically, they will have appropriated this ability to regenerate, travel through time, and all that from something else. That's the first thing that hit my head. I'm like, oh, they're gonna fucking do it. They're gonna do it. Because it's 2020 and we're not that far from 2019. So it looks like the Time Lords are going to be evil. And so my rumor that I reported on was the Doctor might have cycles and the Doctor might have originally been female. The person who told me that rumor said this is a concept they were playing with. But it could be actually far worse. It could actually be far worse. Say the Time Lords were just evil men or evil colonialists who appropriated technology or a human or a living being, possibly, that living being, possibly female, to make Time Lords and stuff. We'll just have to find out. Hopefully, that's not the case. I hope they don't crap all over the Time Lord past. That would be my worst fear, and that would really... I mean, listen, I've kind of dipped on the show anyway. I can't see it recovering anytime soon. The best we can hope for, honestly, is we get through the Jodie era, and then we regenerate, we get another Doctor, we get another showrunner, we start from scratch. Well, that's 4 years away. That's 4 years away. Are you going to be interested in Doctor Who in 4 years? I mean, the show was getting long in the tooth anyway. They're not going to give you a series every year. It's going to be every... and when I say every year, series used to be 8, 9, 10 months apart. Now they're going to start getting to be 13, 14, 15, 16 months apart, which is going to, those breaks are going to get longer. For one, the production value of this episode was better. Did you notice, by the way, in The Ugliest TARDIS, the first female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, was standing in front of a giant penis going up and down? Did you see that? It just looked like, it looked like a dildo. It did. I'm sorry. I didn't design the set of The Ugliest TARDIS, but that's what it looked like. I'll put it in my video if I do one. I don't know. The interest in this show is at rock bottom. I'm sure there's people out there who still like it, people who are hanging on, and good for you. I got no problem with you. Just don't have a problem with me not liking the show. This is probably the best you're going to get, and they still can't hold back on the identity politics and the patriarchy, which is going to be the overall theme of this. And it'll be personified in some of the best villains and some of the classic villains, which takes away from that era. Listen, we can see through your BS. You can go, what? We've always been like this. No, you haven't. No, you haven't, because I've always watched the show, and I've always enjoyed it. I've even been able to stomach, and again, it's not all Chibnall. This stuff was going on in Moffat's era, too, and it was certainly in Dracula as well. So this is a BBC thing. I mean, it's a BBC thing. So as long as Doctor Who's with the BBC, which will be forever, I don't know. Unless HBO Max has some say in it. They're the ones who have the streaming rights now. But Amazon Prime let it go. They just let it go. They didn't want to pay for Doctor Who anymore. So I just think it's a show that's long in the tooth. And that's why this whole groundbreaking female Doctor thing is complete bullshit. They waited until the very end. They were probably almost going to cancel the show, and they said, screw it. Let's give her... And I predict season 3, if the ratings do continue to slide, we're going to look at maybe some specials, 8 episodes, reduced episode count, stuff like that. And then we'll probably transition. I figure she'll do 3 years like everybody else. Chris Chibnall strongly hinted at that in an interview recently. If I do a video, I'll put it in the video. So, and by the way, this live stream, I'll leave it up on the channel for a little while, and then I'll move over to Nerdrotic Live, because again, there's just no interest in this show. not even enough to hate it. People have moved on. But it remains a great example of where, even if you try to right the ship, once you've done that damage, it is hard to undo Star Wars. Star Trek is going to find that out as well. But let's get to you all here. Thank you for joining me. Boom. That stream health looks pretty good. All right. We are going to start out with the original Star Wars fan. What's up? How's it going? Is crack.com Fandom Menace? They had an article called Why the New Star Wars Trilogy Was Doomed from the Start. I laughed reading it. I will check it out. It might be. I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of Whovians are. I think a lot of Star Trek fans are. I think a lot of people have come over to the Fandom Menace because the political correct identity politics bullshit is, it's tired. It is so 2019. But I will check that out. Thank you, original Star Wars fan. Michael Billington for $9.99. I wept for all Doctor Who fans and feel a sense of shame that these wankers are fellow Brits. The BBC has ruined the War of the Worlds as well. I only managed the beginning narration. I heard that too. It's like, listen, we are fine with women leads and strong and powerful women, but especially with Dracula, it is clear that any person can write any person. I'm okay with it. But it's clear that men feel restrained in writing women. Women are just these soulful saints. Listen, it's just so obvious at this point. And I don't care what people say about me. They don't, half these people don't watch these episodes. Half these people haven't been fans for years. So I could give two shits what some anonymous person says about me on Twitter. I'm 50. I've survived hell on earth. I'm not going to worry about this shit. But this is my escapism. This is one of those things that got me through my dark times. That's why I like it. That's why I like it a lot. And that's why I care. And it's nobody's business how much I or you care about anything, by the way. But yes, with Dracula especially, you can tell it was two try-hard men trying to write a woman. And Dracula felt way more gaydist than Moffat to me. Just to me. I could be wrong. And I know it was done in the Sherlock style. And I like Sherlock. I like early Sherlock. But I didn't love Sherlock. Thought it was good, but I didn't love it. Dracula had moments that were good. They really did. And then it would get ruined with this whole Van Helsing thing, which I'll talk about another time. Trek Dog, $16.99. Hail, Gary, your reviews are far more entertaining than the show. I hope with Picard it will be at least entertaining for you to watch the episode. Where can I find the live stream with you and Drunk 3PO? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to put both of those links into the chat. Trek Dog, I will have to ask Drunk 3PO. I think I know Jeremy's is up, but I don't know if Drunk 3PO unlisted it. I will fix that after the live stream, Trek Dog. And so go check the video about 15 minutes after this live stream, and I'll have Drunk 3PO shoot me the link. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it was good. Care for a Jelly Baby for £5. I'm having to pay a TV license fee that they are using to kill my favorite franchise. God, I hate the Beeb. I promise you, even though there's a lower interest in this show, I'm not going to give up on it. I'll probably continue making videos of some kind. I will guarantee I'll make a video for this episode, and I'll make a video for the last. I will live stream every single show right after it airs, British time. Plus, we're going to cover it on the Inquisition. Doomcock and I are both going to be discussing this show, so we're both watching it, and that's for the American audience, and that's where the focus is going to be, on the Inquisition. So after I do this video, if you want to see weekly Doctor Who reviews, it'll be right here after it airs for the UK, and then the American audience and the UK audience can watch the Inquisition, and it goes back and forth between our channels. This is the one I care about the most. Sorry. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars, but I love Doctor Who more. And this is heartbreaking. And this is taking Luke Skywalker, this is taking Spider-Man and turning him into Spider-Girl. It's no different. You know what? You can you can change the continuity in the Marvel universe. Loki can come down, or better yet, Scarlet Witch can turn all males into females and swap it. You know, like they can do something. You can make it canon where Peter Parker turns into a female. Doesn't mean you should do it. Doesn't mean it makes sense. Doesn't mean it works. If you want to create a new show, one that's more female-centric, create a female show. Create a female-centric show within this universe. Guess what? I would watch it. I would believe in it more because you're creating something from scratch. That means you really believe in it. This is bullshit. This is a gimmick. This was done at the last minute. How many times do I got to say it? And the people who champion this stuff don't watch the effing show. I mean, British television habits are a lot different than here in the States now. We don't watch stuff that airs when it airs that much, but you guys are still, a lot of you are still in that habit. That's not saying you're backwards or anything. It's just different. That's all. Americans have no attention spans. Brits, for the most part, are much smarter than we are. And I freely admit that. I am an Anglophile, big time. And I love you guys. Oh, by the way, I'll be there in April, very soon. On a side note that has nothing to do with Doctor Who, I found out Danny Elfman is playing Coachella with members of Oingo Boingo. I'm so there. And that's the week before I'm going to the UK, so I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling. Michael Billington for $1.99. Hail, Gary, or hail, in Gary we trust. I take that very seriously, Michael. And I will do my very best. Nicholas Horton. Hi, Gary. Gallifrey has been destroyed by what? The Master. The Master must have done it with his Mondasian rifle. He must have used the Cybermen or the Daleks, is my guess. We are getting Daleks. I was trying to, Noel was much better on reporting the TARDIS zone than me this year on like every bit of news. I tried to, but the interest just wasn't there. But, hail Noel. So I think the Daleks are coming back, and this might be behind it. And maybe they're going to rip a little bit of a plot that they didn't use from Season 7 that would have made Season 7 much better. And I might do a video on that. There was a couple of toys that came out about 7 years ago, and on the back of these toys there was complete descriptions of what was going to happen in Series 7 right around the 50th anniversary. And this was when Matt Smith was still going to be around for Season 8 and Karen Gillan was still going to be around, and they appears they had to change everything because they left, and it sucks because they shit canned a good story that would have been amazing to see, but it didn't happen. I'll do a video on that the other day, but it had something to do with I'm blanking on their name now. That sucks. The church. So there's after the Doctor had died and faked his death and went back into the shadows, the universe was supposedly went into war, and it was the Daleks versus the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels, and it laid waste to the universe. And the church, and I'm forgetting their name, put together a weapon made out of Dalek technology and Cybermen technology and a Weeping Angel finger, and it's a gun that wipes you out of his existence. And it was a pretty cool toy, actually, but it was, according to my source, supposed to be in something that they scrapped. Now, they do this all the time. People leave, they have to scrap plans. BBC says no, too much, that's going to cost too much money. So it could have been something different, and that's just what I heard. Again, don't know if it's a fact or not, but that toy description is there. And there's another one too, with another sonic screwdriver they're going to use. Lily Trilly for 100 Norwegian krona. I like what you do, sir. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Am I saying, is it Lyle? I'm sorry, did I say Lily? My apologies. Lyle Trial. Yeah, it's not Lyle, it's Lily, because it's 2 L's. So that's why I'm looking at it like if it was Lyle, it'd be 1 L. Not saying my English is good, because it's not. I've been kicked out of 3 high schools. Mr. Roboto for $2. Is this less or more woke than Rosa Space Racist? Less. A lot less. That is woke level 20. This was woke. This was woke, but it wasn't as woke as that. But it's subtle woke. We want to find a way to introduce the Nazis because people are just loving bringing in white supremacists and Nazis and everything now because, the Orange Man is going to bring back that era. And that's the narrative that a lot of people want to happen. But it's not. But one thing they did hit on this episode is something very dangerous for their time that I think more shows like Doctor Who in a more intelligent way should cover. Our privacy being given up to these giant corporations. Now, I don't care. Through many mistakes in my life is an open book, and the government knows a lot about me already. So whatever. And I've already lost rights that normal Americans, forever, that normal Americans have. So me personally, I don't care. But you might want to, think twice before you go out on Facebook. And there's even a Facebook jab on that. And I did like the fact, the only thing that I liked was when Barton was talking to his mom. He's all, I tried to friend you on Facebook, and I hate talking on the phone. So I tried to get my mom to friend me on Facebook so she could see what I'm doing and I could contact her. She refuses to do it. And then she complains that I never call. You never call me, Gary. Cesario JPN for $2. MI6, what happened to Unit? Unit and Torchwood were budget cuts. If you watched last season. Which pretty much, by the way, Chris Chibnall's the boss of Torchwood, so that tells you right there. So if they're budget cuts and they don't exist, is Big Finish canon? I always thought it was. By the way, Big Chief Studios, if you're watching out there, I got a bone to pick with you. I pre-ordered my 8th Doctor 1/6 scale, which shame on me for giving the BBC money, but I wanted it. I wanted my 8th Doctor. And I paid in advance, and then they try to hit me with another fee that they didn't tell. I paid in full in advance. They're like, you still owe 20 more bucks, and they held up my order for 2 months. Not happy with you. Point Curation for Canadian £2. Thank you very much for the 2 Canadian pesos. And next time, I'm just going to buy it secondhand on eBay, and I'm not going to give you money directly. Macau 27 for £99. The double episode was the best of the Whittaker era. I agree. She just does not stand out. Having Russian family, I didn't like the comparison of the aliens to the Russians. I did not either, and that was one of those woke moments, and people might roll their eyes at that. Bullshit. No, that's why they put this stuff in the story, and it really just takes me out of the story. Sorry, can't use the words right now. It really pulls me out of the story every time they do something that obvious because it didn't flow with the narrative. Why would you compare the, what are they called again? The Kardashians. I'm just going to call them the Kardashians. The Kim Kardashians. Why would you call the Kardashians Russians? How would they like Russians in any way, shape, or form? They're nothing like Russians. But they wanted to put it in there because Russians are controlling elections, everybody. They're manipulating things. Russian bots are downvoting Star Wars. Everyone. Did you know that? I don't know if you heard that in the UK, but there is a running narrative to this very day that Russian bots have invaded the Star Wars community to downvote the movie to sow discord in America to lead to what? A civil war? I don't know. What? Yeah, things have gotten really insane. Really, really insane. Disinformation, all that stuff. You're damn right. But it's coming from the people who are accusing us of it. We're just calling this stuff out. I'm just watching a show of Doctor Who, a show I used to be able to watch with my entire family, and now nobody wants to watch it. Well, Mrs. Nerdrotic, but my kids. Both my kids know their Doctor Who, and they don't care anymore. And a lot of other kids don't either. Considering how much merchandise I saw this Christmas here in the States, which was one single pen. And I looked. I always look for Doctor Who merchandise because you can find some classic stuff. Barnes & Noble, which is pretty much the last retailer here. I know you still have them in the UK, but we don't have much. So it's a bookstore that sells Blu-rays and stuff. It used to have a Doctor Who section. Gone. Doctor Who section is gone. How did things go with the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff? Oh, it closed. That's right. It closed the year Jodie was announced. I forgot. Unactium. Blah, blah, sorry. How do I say this? Unactium for £10. Chibnall is trying to go normie, and it works. But the critics are attacking the series for not going full social justice. Of course they are. The ratings are down, and the corrupt critics will keep them down. How ironic. Yeah, it is. It doesn't. He's trying to go normie, but it's too late. And I mean, listen, his trying to go normie was ripping off a bunch of Russell T Davies and Moffat ideas. I mean, if that's what if this is what we're at to get good Doctor Who, really? We just have to do a bad impression of the Russell T Davies and Moffat era, and that's what we got to be happy with that? No. For one, he put in, Chris Chibnall likes to put in arbitrary countdown clocks. He did it this episode and did it last episode as well. Point Curation, independent internet radio killed the video show. Independent internet radio killed the video show. Maybe. Independent internet radio. You know what? I don't know if that's catching on or not. It is with some people. I like some independent radio shows. As a matter of fact, I've been invited to be interviewed on one, and I'm probably going to do it. But yes, I think YouTube killed a lot of stuff. For one, you know those kids that they lost? They're watching YouTube. Mystic Puma for £5. The up and down motion of the center console is in the female TARDIS. Interesting. The whole part of placing items in the past to save the future. Blink. Yep. They ripped off Blink, Sound of Drums. There was homages to City of Death, and other things that I missed. I got to go through again. Deep Breath. There was a Deep Breath Easter egg. There was a bunch of Cybermen winks going on. So obviously that might be just leading to them coming back, kind of like Mummy in the Orient Express. We never found out who Gus was, by the way, the one who put together the whole scenario for that episode. I always thought that they would figure out what Gus was, and it was like the Cybermind or something like that. And if you saw the doors to the kitchen, the doors between cars on the train and Mummy in the Orient Express look like Cyberman eyes. Talons of Wang Chang for £5. Why do male writers always write female characters as continually patting themselves on their backs with OTT over-the-top positive affirmation? It's so false. The Talons of Wang Chang, brilliant point. That is a trope of male writers. Yes, they always have this weird, over-the-top positive affirmation. You know where that comes from? Fan fiction. That's a fan fiction thing. And this is the problem. Twilight ruined everything. It really did. Keep it up, says... I just lost it. It jumped on me. The Kelvington. Well, thank you, the Kelvington. I appreciate you. Mr. Roboto, this all sounds terrible. Where's the eject button? I think a lot of people have already pressed it, Mr. Roboto, and it is quite awful. It is quite awful. And I didn't even get into all the awfulness. I'm going to have to, unfortunately, watch it again. The thing was, people didn't watch the episode. They didn't. Not here in the States. And unfortunately, I have a very large percentage of UK subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate that for a normal YouTuber. But it's still not a lot, I have 16% of you. 16% of you are from the UK. That's insanely high. For average channel, I think is 9% or something like that. So I'm pretty proud of that. I love the Brits. I bet the Time Lords have appropriated all their powers from the Sisterhood of Karn and then banished them to Gallifrey without TARDIS technology. It's going to be something like that. I promise you. I promise you. And maybe this is where, my source heard original female. That's what I want you to focus on. It might not, the Doctor might not be original female. It might be that the Time Lords stole something from a race of beings, and maybe specifically a female. I think that's pretty easy to buy at this point, considering what we've seen already from Star Trek Discovery and Star Wars. I mean, look what they did. If you ever think they won't do something like this, they made Luke Skywalker a creepy old hermit who died by overdosing on the Force. Anything's possible. The Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews. I haven't seen the super chat yet. I predict he's going to like it for £2. I will be interested in Doctor Who forever. I will be too, just not new stuff. There is plenty of old Doctor Who that I have not read every comic. I have not ever read every book, and this allows me to catch up, and that's great. And the best part about it is I get to give my money to other Whovians or other former Whovians, and I would rather give it to you guys than the BBC. I bought some old British Doctor Who comics a couple days ago. That and some Elric. Yeah, I got some Elric. I was gonna reach over. This is good stuff. All right. But the Talons of Wayne Chang, you are spot on. I will remember that super chat. We will revisit this at the end of the series, and you will have earned a told you so if it happens. Okay. Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews. I know you're always a Doctor Who fan, and I'm not going to judge you for that. Never. Love what you want to love. If I like a lot of bad things too. I do. I like The Hobbit. I like the Hobbit movies quite a bit. I know they're terrible, and I like them. And there's woke moments in two. They completely cucked out Legolas. Fizzanthorpe for $10. Gary, good luck with Dracula on date night tonight. I watched 2 of the 3 episodes, and it only gets worse. Just when you think you are past an annoying thing, it comes right back to face you in episode 3. That sucks. Fizzanthorpe, so I did watch the first 2 episodes, and that's my review. You build up this goodwill with some amazingly shot horror. I mean, they tried to do classic Dracula, and there's like some really good horror scenes in it. And then it runs into a wall of progressiveness. And I don't want to say progressive. It runs into a wall of political correctness. And just stops dead. I will say the actress playing Van Helsing, I do like that actress quite a bit. You know what? She probably could have played a decent Doctor. Think about it. I still wouldn't be sold. She would be a better Romana. But it's so obviously written by a try-hard man trying to make her just amazing. Raymond H. Hessel for $2. And plus I'm not a religious person. Okay. I'm an agnostic. Okay. I am not a religious person at all. It was very anti-Christian. And the Dracula being anti-Christian is one. No, the whole theme on it is anti-Christian. They change like how the cross affects Dracula, and at least they think they do. They allude, but it's still a pretty anti-Christian message. We'll see if that turns around in the 3rd episode. And listen, you can be anti-Christian, but you also have to be anti everything else. If you're going to be pro something, you just got to be even. That's all I'm saying. Neutrality in this. If you're going to pick on one group, you better pick on the other one. Then we're cool. The Witcher does that. The Witcher pulls that off. The Witcher is an equal offender to all parties, if you think about it. And it also shows both sides. That's what I'm asking for. The Expanse does that too. And Doctor Who used to do that. It did. I did. Raymond K. Hessel, I did. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's in this closet right here, and I'm too lazy to dig it out. Raymond H. Kessel for $2 said, "Didn't you promise us a hipster hat, Gary?" My bowler hat. Is that a hipster hat? I bought that hat in 2003 for my wedding. I love that hat. It's made out of real horsehair, PETA, and I bought it at the top hat shop, the Top Shop, where Winston Churchill bought his hats. It's a shop that's like 400 years old in London, jolly old London. Nicholas Horton for £2. Dracula had Moffat era Doctor Who Easter eggs. It had a Sherlock. I don't want to watch it again, Nicholas Horton. I really don't, but I'll take your word for it. Maybe I probably missed him. Sam Whiskey for $1.99. Time to give the I might know one. Sam Whiskey for $1.99. Time to give the TARDIS a Viking burial. It's over. Yes, the ugliest TARDIS needs to go away. It is awful. It's filled with dildo crystals. Sean Casey for £20. Better start the last series. Unfortunately, Jodie can't carry drama. So many great British actresses could. Sure, it will get better and the story arc is back. Lenny Henry will return. He's from my hometown of Dudley too. She can't carry the show. We're going to get 2 more seasons of this. Ratings be damned. And then it gets canceled, or it gets... they're going to need to do something drastic again. And maybe it just needs a break. We could just rely on Big Finish, and that'd be, it's in a break for me already. This isn't Doctor Who. I used to look forward to it. Even in the crappy Capaldi era, I get excited because I'm like, maybe we could get a good Doctor Who episode. I don't get excited now. Now we're like, hey, it reminded us of we ripped off a bunch of Russell T Davies stuff. It reminded us of the old stuff. This must be better. No, it's not. This is the Force Awakens of Doctor Who. But you credit them for figuring it out. I'm sure Chris Chibnall had to swallow a lot of pride to do this, though. I'm sure he did. And maybe this was the source of all the drama that was going on behind the scenes. Norwegian Kryptonian for 22 Norwegian krona. Will you have a passing John Campea party? I'm not going to lie. That would be a big deal for me. Because he's a big YouTuber. I mean, like he was on Collider, I really like his co-host, Robert Meyer Burnett. And you know what? I'll have him on the show when that happens. Well, I want to have him on the show. Maybe we could do it beforehand. It doesn't have to be. But yeah, we're going to have a little 200,000 K, celebration by, doing the Inquisition tonight. Doomcock was kind enough because Doomcock's a good Doomcock. He's a good future ruler of Earth. And we switched spots for the Inquisition. So again, thank you to my friend Overlord DVD. Please subscribe to him. He's my internet BFF for sure. And he's going to give me San Francisco. And I will clean this place up. No Birkenstocks, or poop on the street. Scottish Nerd for £2. Congratulations on 200,000. At least we have each other. Scottish Nerd. That's the best part about this. I found you guys through Doctor Who. And yeah, I was looking forward to talking to you. I miss you guys. I do. Richard Kemp for £10. I'm so looking forward to Gary's post-Dracula episode 3 review. LOL, Moffat truly is the UK's Jar Jar. Happy New Year. Yeah, it's going to be done. It shall be done. But I need to watch the 3rd episode. The end of the 2nd episode was so predictably dumb. I'm like, he's going to be in the UK. I won't say what time, but yeah, it was so God. It was terrible. I love it. It's Dad Bod Dracula. Dad Bod Dracula. Yes. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews for £2. My father will never join the Fandom Menace. Okay. That's okay. Your father does not have to, and I can still respect him. Is he a good dad? That's all that's important, because the Doctor Who that you love so much, they don't believe in good fathers. Actually, they try to use them as villains now because the patriarchy is evil. And they're trying to, your show that you love is trying to push a message that men are responsible for all the evil in the world. And women, when and if they're in charge completely with no men, things will be better. There will be no war. And Terry Gilliam is a national treasure. Terry Gilliam is a national treasure. God bless him for speaking the truth. He sparked a lot of controversy yesterday. We will discuss this on the Inquisition tonight. This is why he is my favorite director. My favorite all-time director is Terry Gilliam. Monty Python is one of my favorite things. It was very influential in my life, as influential as Douglas Adams, the Beatles, Doctor Who, all things British. But you guys did screw up a BLT. The first time I landed there, I had a bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. I thought, how could you screw this up? And you guys managed to do it. So props on you. But your dad does not have to join the Fandom Menace. You don't join the Fandom Menace. It's not something you join. There's no rules. There's no dues or fees. It's just a hashtag and a general loose philosophy. And a large number of people, a very large number of people. Michael Billington, I apologize, for £1.99. I thought Missy would have been a good in a spinoff. Yeah. The doctor, the master trying to rehab, that would have been great. Didn't they talk about that? Didn't they talk about doing a spinoff like that where like a rehabbing master running around and doing doctor stuff, but not exactly getting it right? Possibly, accidentally killing a couple of companions or that would be funny. I think that would be good. Yeah. Master on the wagon. I don't know what you would call it, but, Crackling for $4.99. It feels like modern media overlords are taking classic favorites, sticking their heads in the toilet and flushing repeatedly until they kill them. It feels like that's exactly what's happening, Crackling. That's exactly what happened. Modern executives are doing a bunch of coke, sticking their heads in the toilets, and having their assistants, when they're not polishing knobs, do their work for them. Andrew Gillian for $1. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate the donation. Nicholas Horton for $5. Nicholas Horton says, the Daleks are scheduled to appear in the next special, not this season. And isn't it odd, Nicholas, that they filmed the special this early? I don't ever remember them doing it this early. You don't have to respond with Super Chat, but correct me if I'm wrong. Christmas specials have always been filmed after the season. And they did technically, but not like a year early. That's crazy. It's the cyber people that'll be the big bad this season. And I love how you put the cyber people, Nicholas Horton. That tells me you watch my videos. That tells me we're like this. We're like this and have been for a long time. Nicholas Horton, ladies and gentlemen, is a Doctor Who fan. Nicholas Horton knows his shit. Crackling for $4.99. The Witcher hates the Bard, stretches the truth, or sings songs about things that didn't happen. The Witcher hates fake news. He does. He does. But they built a legend and it got him paid. Don't forget to toss a coin to your Witcher. Don't start singing that song. It'll stick in your head. Loquacious Primate for $5. Hail, Gary. You're the best for Doctor Who. And while part 1 seemed okay, this season really sadly looks like more of the same. Let me know when you want to chat on your site. I will. We're getting close to that time. Loquacious Primate. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And yeah, it's going to be, so I reported on it earlier. It was a course correction and that's what we got. I did actually, it's one of my better performing Doctor Who videos, where I talked about this stuff was going to happen. They're going to fill it with, Tennant era and early Doctor Who era iconography, imagery, costumes, plots. That's what they're doing. Because they know they don't have a talented writer to push this show forward. A female doctor I could buy it with good writing, but they had they have to fill it with this identity politics and their political agenda. They just can't help themselves. Even in an episode that's almost digestible, it gets ruined by putting that crap in over and over again. And listen, Moffat was doing that too. And I would equate this to one of the middling season 10 episodes. I would say it was right there at that quality. And again, the only thing that saved Moffat era anything was Peter Capaldi. He is a popular doctor among you Brits. Good luck finding any of his 1/6 scale action figures. Good luck. You're not going to find it. Anything 12th Doctor is hard to find, and it's very collectible as far as the upper tier collectible stuff is. There is this one-off 1/6 scale Capaldi Doctor they did that's worth thousands. I can't find it. It's like the only thing I don't have. I have everything. I have everything, but I don't have that. Toss a coin to your Nerdrotic. Hail Gerald. Hail Gerald of Poopvinia. The fans Witcher. Congratulations on 200,000 subscribers. Why, thank you. Thank you. My Witcher review is coming. My proper Witcher review is coming. I don't care if it kills my algorithm. I love the show. On my third viewing, I like it even more. So, yes, I think it fills a void with me. It does. Is it perfect? No. Does it have little wokey moments in it? Yes. But, like I said, unlike Doctor Who, unlike Star Trek, they show the other side of things. Alex Hawker for £1.99. Yaz still has the personality of a wooden plank. Alex, you're right. She had the most work. No, she had a little more. She's useless. Ryan, he's charming. Tolson Cole is a charming actor. I like him. I can see him being very good in other things. I think Tolson Cole has talent. I'm not saying that the actress of Yaz doesn't. I'm just not seeing it in this episode. But Ryan has charm, and it works well with Graham. Bradley Walsh is excellent. I love Bradley Walsh. I do. I have nothing bad to say. Nothing personal against the actors in the show, except for Jodie, who said that the previous doctors were practicing the male gaze, so she can F off with that. But Bradley Walsh, cool beans. John Ellis at Bush for £4.99. If Moffat is Jar Jar, does that make Chibnall Roundhead? Yes. Yes. That's a very good analogy. John Ellis Bush. I agree. Draco Argentius for $2. Hashtag Fandom Menace is a state of mind. It is. Thank you, Draco. You're right. You're right. That's what I was trying to say, and you said better. There you go. There you go. Demonic Bioman as the one. It always breaks off at the end here. Why does it do that? Why does it do that? I can't read it. And if I drag it down a little bit, nope. That doesn't work either. That's awfully weird. Why I can't. The bottom one is cut off. Demonic Bioman. I see $2, and the dang thing is cut off. I don't know what to do. Hang on. Let me get it. Oh, and over here. Nope. We'll get it. I'll get that read in a second, Demonic Bioman. Thank you for the $2. Let's see if it's up here. There's Will W. I'm going to read it the old-fashioned way. There it is, right there. Congrats on 200K, by far best damn channel on YouTube. Demonic Bioman, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I have a lot of great company here. I'm glad. Thank you for thinking I'm the best. I don't think that. I think Critical Drinker's better. Mahler's better. I mean, everybody's better. But thank you. We got a good group of people here. Bowles Trek is an awesome YouTuber. Please subscribe to him. He's a good friend. He knows his Doctor Who through and through. If you like what I do, you would like what he does. Noel at the TARDIS Zone has been grinding. He's an up-and-coming channel. He loves Doctor Who, maybe more. I mean, that's his life. I mean, he is truly torn up over this. I am too. I'm upset what happened to Star Trek. I'm upset what happened to Star Wars. I'll admit I was torn up what happened to Doctor Who. It put me in a funk. It depressed me because I really enjoyed sitting down with my youngest son and nerding out over Doctor Who. He used to come in here and ask me, like, can I play with, he would pull my play sets down and play with them. Of course, I'd let him play with them. And he really effed one up, and I don't care. He was having fun. And he stopped playing. He got older, but he also just stopped being interested. And it sucks because that was something like we did together. It was like our moment, and it's gone. It's gone. Because they're looking for an audience that they won't get. There's other ways to get that audience, by the way. It's a powerful audience. It's an audience I would like. I would like us all to be together again under the umbrella of Good Who and just discussing Good Who. The BBC made this decision deliberately, knowing what it would do and not caring. The writers can't seem to make up their mind about whether or not Gallifrey should exist. This is definitely a cheap way to bring back the Time War, and I had to work it out in my head while I was talking to you. Again, this is like a visceral reaction, and it's cheap. Playing Witcher 3, enjoying it. Will W. I did not start. I'm going to start. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit today. So I will let you know. I've watched some of the stories on YouTube, and I love them. I freaking love them. I got all the books now, and I even got some of the Dark Horse comics. I got some of those as well. But that led me down to, there's Starry-Eyed Girl right here. So Starry-Eyed Girl, I'm sure Capaldi will do Big Finish, says Starry-Eyed Girl. He was asked didn't he say no? But I'm pretty sure he will sometime too, and I can't wait for that. So Starry-Eyed Girl, by the way, I'm going to make you a mod. Boom. She's a moderator. She will be joining me from here on out for the season. We need some female representation for Doctor Who. So she's going to be joining me. SC Gaming, thank you for the super chat. And I need to bring it up the old-fashioned way. Why did Chibnall destroy Gallifrey again? Because he cheaply wanted to bring back the Time War, because it's an actual good concept that I like, that I wish they never would have solved. I enjoyed the 50th anniversary episode despite Clara. I've watched it multiple times. I own it in 3D. It's part of the reason I bought a 3D television, was to watch it in 3D at home, was that one episode. And it actually, the 3D in it's excellent. It's really good. But that's why they destroyed it. But they also destroyed it to get rid of the patriarchal Time Lords, who are going to go out as Talons of Wang Chang said, and I predicted as well, that the Time Lords are going to represent the patriarchy, and they will have appropriated the Time Lord technology from a race or a person, or maybe even a specific female. Oh yeah. I'm going to have to make a video about this. I could be wrong. But look at where we are. We are theorizing how they're going to destroy the Doctor Who canon with wokeness, instead of theorizing the actual plot. We're guessing how they're going to destroy our franchise on the altar of woke, and what woke thing they're going to do to destroy it. And when I say woke, I mean more PC than woke. It's more of a British term. Hail West Moody webcast. Thanks. How's it going? So thank you, everybody. I'm going to wrap this one up. It's been a little over an hour. I went way longer than I expected to, but what the hell? Screw it. We're having a good time. Let's talk about it some more tonight on this channel, 6:15 p.m., right after Doctor Who airs in the States. I know it's a little late for you Brits. Be sure to if you miss it, keep an eye. For one, Nerdrotic Live is my second channel. That's where I put all of my live streams, and that's where this one's probably going to go. Go subscribe over there. If you don't want to do that, pay attention to the community section, and that's where I post it. But it's a lot easier just to subscribe to Nerdrotic Live. Some Nobody. And I'm going to check and make sure I didn't miss anything either. So Some Nobody just popped in. I personally think you have the best philosophy. Why, thank you, Some Nobody. You're okay too. Uh-oh. I'm going to clap and give an okay symbol. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Now I'm in trouble. XCon. See, I missed one. Gary, you're inspired. I missed one. So I'm going to go through a couple. Gary, you inspired to make my first video. You inspired me to make my first video. My apologies. Rise of Skywalker corrected. C-3PO takes one last look at his real friends. Hope you can watch. I will watch that because I can imagine what you did and it needed to be done. Thank you, XCon. Email me the link at gary@nerdrotic.com and I will watch it immediately. Okay? Thank you. Now I got to go through and Supreme Heretic for $2. My mother and I appreciate you, Gary. Hail. Supreme Heretic, hail to you, my friend. Thank you. And say hello to Mom. See, hey, Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews Supreme Heretic's mom joined the Phantom Menace. Bet your dad could. J Hando 4 for $5. BBC's failure is everyone else's fault except their own. Is this not typical leftist play tactics? Always. What's up, Gary? Yes, it's typical elitist leftist. I think they are a subset. We have left, right, and center at this channel. I don't want to have political discussions about Doctor Who. Doctor Who can certainly teach us that war is bad and racism is bad. But there's other ways to do it through allegory, through aliens. You want to keep the show fun. You know what? You really want to keep the show at the level that The Mandalorian was. The Mandalorian is where Doctor Who should be. It should be, Doctor Who's more sophisticated than The Mandalorian, but it should be at that TV 14 level. But Doctor Who occasionally will get dark. They'll kill somebody and they'll do something, and that's for the adults. That's for the adults. But it also shows the kids that there's consequences to actions. The Doctor used to have those, but now the Doctor has this magic mystery box, and that's from the Moffat era as well. Daxamite, you're right. Kids don't care about Doctor Who. Like your boy Zach says, kids also don't care about comics either. It's all sad. Zach is right about that. Zach is right about that. Did I hear Zach unsub to Yellow Flash because he did too much Star Wars content? Oh, man. And to say, wow. I stay subscribed to everybody. If somebody is doing a little too much content for me, I just don't watch. But I figure it's good to stay subscribed. I mean, I stay subscribed to Zach. You know, I did. I mean, he talks about Jawbreakers like every video. And I want to hear his takes on comics. And you know what? I don't care. He wants to push his comic. That's good. But come on, Zach. Yellow Flash is he's doing great, man. Yellow Flash is doing great. I know I missed super chat, so give me a Lily Ray for $4.99. Inspired by David Tennant and Russell T Davies era. It makes them look more like a fool. I don't care if you are running out of ideas. I read fanfics because it's original. Yeah. Listen, if you are looking for original content and that's where you have to go, Lily Ray, yeah, go there. I got no problem with it. You know what? If it's original fanfic on original characters, I think that's just stories. Now, there's fanfic on Doctor Who. I would recommend you keep your creative stuff on your own stuff because you might be able to make something good and make something on it. If you put your best effort into something you don't own, while that's awesome and it's passionate and it shows that you really love something, it doesn't really do you any good. And you can write a fanfic story that's inspired by Doctor Who, like blatantly ripping off like some other people do, and it might turn into something cool. You know, that happens quite a bit. For time gods, the Time Lords seem to lose all the time, says Dragon Balls GT 1989. Yes, they're not very good at being time gods. That's for sure. Art Swanson for $2. Ripley from Aliens, Ash from Evil Dead equals story first. Ash in Evil Dead. Ash and the Evil Dead, the show that was on, the first season was so goddamn good. Ash versus the Evil Dead. Season 1 was perfection. Okay, did I miss the ones I skipped? Sorry, a self-produced episode here. Obviously. So I'm just making sure I didn't miss any, and I don't think I did. And what was that one? Okay. So if I did, for some reason, miss one, it will get made up. I will read it. I'll probably read it tonight because it'll probably be one or two. So I'll go through again. If I missed one, I apologize, and I'll read it tonight on the Inquisition, which can be found on Nerdrotic Live and can be found in the community section. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a Game of Thrones video to work on. Yes. a Star Wars video, which is probably going to take priority. So Game of Thrones gets pushed back to Tuesday. Witcher review will be Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's Game of Thrones video, Star Wars video, Witcher video. Game of Thrones video, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and it's time to make it. It's time. Again, I don't care if nobody's watching it. So again, thank you. We reached 200,000 subscribers. That is thanks to you. This is a community. This is a place where you can come and say whatever you like. You really can. You can like Doctor Who. I'm not gonna shame you. I'm just gonna disagree with you. But you are welcome here. All are welcome here. As long as you don't spam and disrespect. Then you're not. But look for the Inquisition again tonight, 6:15 p.m. right here. And you know what? I think I'll take you out with a little bit of music. A little bit of music on this one. Let's get that set up. Oh, and look forward to the Inquisition looking better as my camera goes out of focus. Doomcock and I will not be using StreamYards tonight. We're going to be using good old Hangouts and OBS. So it's going to look a little better. And next week, I've got a theme song worked up. Yes, I've got some credits. So we're working. All right, everybody. Have a good day. And remember, not all who wander are lost.
Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And again, I'll see you on the Inquisition later tonight. Ciao.